Is it going to start? Can we start? I guess so. So hello everyone. We'll be talking, it's the last talk of the day, and we're going to talk about failure. We're going to celebrate failure, and this is the name of the event. It's called Breaking a Startup. You'll see this will be a recurring event about various startups, of course. We will not be talking about the same startup that failed. And this is the name of the startup. It's called Fwdmarket. It stands for Fwdmarket. It was supposed to be a marketplace, and we'll talk more about what it was supposed to do as we advance through the slides. So, this is yours truly, Paul Kirila, co-founder at Fwdmarket, and this is my partner in crime over here. He's currently standing right there, managing the video. So, here at CodeCamp, we're organizing, as Ready for Startups, we organized this whole track today about startups. And as I said, we've got these three signature events. Pitch It happened first thing this morning, and then Breaking a Startup is closing the day. What we didn't manage to pull off is to also organize In It, which stands for Industry and IT, and it's probably going to be our toughest one to put together. And it is our biggest bet that we can bring together people from various industries and people from IT, and that finally people from IT will be able to solve real world problems and not whatever they consider to be a problem in other industries they don't really understand. So if you're interested in Ready for Startups and what we're going to do in the coming months and hopefully years, you can go to the website and you can register, and we'll let you know when future events happen. Okay, now let's dive into Fwdmarket. Please take 1 minute to read the description and tell me how unclear you feel it is.
I like the last paragraph there.
You like the last paragraph here?
Yeah, focus on nurturing lasting relationships and getting things done without the stress of paying anything upfront. I want to work with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely. You know, you know what this was supposed to do? I mean, this was supposed to be a place where designer and a developer can get together and create a WordPress or a Bootstrap theme. Did you understand that by reading the description?
Yeah.
You did not, probably, or almost did not, or had no idea it was about a theme or Bootstrap, because we said digital products and blah blah blah, and that's one of the reasons this thing failed eventually, because we were explaining it extremely wrong, and we tried to build something that's generic instead of something that's targeted. But we'll go through all these things together in just a moment. So how Fwdmarket came to life? This was, I think, in January 2014, when the partner in crime created a Bootstrap theme. It's called Art Admin. It's still available on Bootstrap if you want to buy it. And he created this Bootstrap theme, and it was his first product. A thing that created revenue without you having to sell it. It was not an hourly thing. It was new. It was different. We were making money while sleeping, literally. You wake up in the morning and you have 5 sales and you didn't do anything. And we thought, hey, if he did it with no artistic sense whatsoever, we could do more if we had a designer on board. So what we tried next was we tried to work with 2 local designers. After 6 months, not 6 months, I think 3 or 4 months, we had nothing. Just promises and meetings and blah, 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 but nothing. So by having nothing, we were extremely disappointed with the lack of commitment. And that's when we thought, being developers, that, wait, but we can fix this. How easy would it be? You probably hear this in your head all the time. How easy would it be if there were a platform or a place on the web where this could happen? And you start thinking, and if you're a developer, God forbid, you actually think about starting to code that thing, and it's horrible. So this was our landing page. We actually ended up buying the picture, so we didn't use the iStock photo picture. So we actually bought the picture, and we said, Sarah Lee, web designer, would you share a percentage of your future sales with Sarah for a kick-ass design? No payment on this website. No upfront payments. So we said, share the workload, split the revenue, make friends. This thing about making friends was just so we have 3 things here. Okay, so we had a landing page, and it was a good landing page. It was nice, it was well designed, we spent money doing it with a designer. We actually found a designer who would work for money. Funny, huh? Upfront, yeah. So we built this landing page, and while I was Facebooking one day, I see an ad that the biggest conference in Europe where the tech world meets is looking for startups from Romania. And I was like, we're from Romania. So I applied. And guess what? They contacted me, and I went through their sales funnel, which was incredibly well thought, and I ended up paying to go there, although it was supposed to be free, whatever. And while we were doing all this, so remember, we're going to the Web Summit in 4 months or so, and during those 4 months, we find a direct competitor, which is still alive, by the way. Build It With Me. And at that time, Build It With Me was silly enough to basically make available all their users' contact information on their website. And being developers, we wrote a scraper. And we started emailing all their users because they were kind of doing the same thing as we are. They were saying, okay, post an ad that you need a designer, and the designer might apply. So, guess what? That's the email people got, and some of them actually replied. We had 4 email templates that we sent out randomly, and we got replies. The title was, let's build a product together. We were basically emailing all their users, and most of them were developers who replied back, which was awful for us because we did not need extra development power. So we kind of turned them down nicely and tried to get them to sign up for our early beta and stuff like that. But this particular lady was a designer from Australia. Ta-da. But, as you can see, this is from the 22nd of August. And the Web Summit was going to be in November, so about a month and a half between the two. So we said, maybe in this time, we can work with her. She can do the designs, we can write the code, and by the time we go to the Web Summit to show our product, we would have an actual example of how the platform could bring people together and how a use case, basically, a real use case, how we could use the platform. Fortunately, things didn't go so smooth. This was our platform. This was the Fwdmarket website. What you see here is the homepage, and it looks a lot like any other website where you buy a theme from. So this was going to be our marketplace component of it, where you could buy products. And this was going to be the product page, where you could see the licensing and the support and blah, blah, blah. The interesting part is this. This is where you say what you're looking for, how much you're willing to give away, and how much of the project is completed. So it's a bit of a job kind of board, where you can say, I've got a WordPress theme, I'm a developer, I wrote some of the code, I have no front end, I need a designer, you'll get 30% of whatever we sell. No upfront payments. Everything's sold through the platform. All the sales get automatically split between the people who work on the product. And we said, okay, but how can these people feel that they work together on this website if there's no features to make them feel like they work together? So, let's say you get some applicants, and for various shares of your product, you might pick one of them, you make them an offer, they accept it, and all of a sudden you guys are in a team discussing about the product, setting up the milestones and the features, and eventually, after some time of working, you're going to have a release, which is going to basically be listed in the marketplace and be available for purchase. Okay, and we would also have a directory of the people on the website where you can see skills and connections and what products they've worked on before. Okay, so this was basically our product. And this is Cosmin at the Web Summit in November. And this was our booth, if you can believe that's a booth. That was no wider than that table over there. And to make it even better, it was in this madness. So as you can imagine, we got awesome visibility. This is maybe like, what you see here is maybe like 20% of the entire expo area. And we got to be there on our booth for 1 day of the 3 days. And guess what? It was the first day. So we had no idea what to expect. We got there in the morning and we were like, well, we got some stickers and some flyers, and the guys next to us came all the way from South America and they brought practically a plane load of stuff with them. They ended up giving people at the conference bags to hold their stuff in, and they had the USB flash drives and everything. I was like, are you guys funded? Because this doesn't look like an alpha company that just pisses away money into all this stuff. They said no. So the good part, however, about the Web Summit, because after day one, when we spent most of our time at the booth talking to some people, most of them told us that description that you saw earlier sucked. It made absolutely no sense. They told us that whatever pitch we had made no sense. They even told, some of them even told us the product made no sense. So we were like, okay, it's still feedback, and it's where a lot of startup people come. Okay, we got a couple of people encouraged us, so it wasn't all bad. But still, so it wasn't that good the first day, in terms of product. But then the second and the third day, we were like, okay, so let's see what this conference has for us. I mean, we were here, we paid the plane, we paid the hotel, we paid the car driver, whatever. Now let's make more of this conference. So what we did is, Google was organizing all day long seminars on various topics: hiring, engineering, Docker, Kubernetes, whatever was hot back then. So we spent our second day just in this room listening to all the Google talks, which was awesome. As you can imagine, it was great. You get to listen to some of their greatest people talk about their greatest stuff. It was a huge win for us. But not just that. Somehow they were giving away $10,000 worth of Google Cloud credit. So we went ahead and we got that, and we actually tried to get 2 of it, since we were 2 guys there. I'm just saying, we thought, hey, they might not check. Okay, so we looked at the Google seminars, and before we went to Dublin, we had met in Cluj with a couple of country managers from Google here in Romania, and one of them was working in Dublin at their offices there. So on our last day, we actually had the breakfast at the Google offices, which was, as developers, for us, it was, it was worth the trip. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that's last day, pub crawls, whatever, don't judge. So that's me. So then we came back home. And by this time we had very mixed feedback. We had realized that we're going to have a very hard time building this, putting it to market, bringing users to it. Remember, this was our first startup as founders. All the stuff you heard about and the talks before about funnels and measuring and doing an MVP and stuff like that, when we went to Dublin, we had the product working, no users. So we were doing pretty much everything wrong, and that's why this is the topic of this discussion, not because we're doing it right. So we came back home and we said, okay, let's keep trying to work with Mabel, that was her name, the designer, and let's try to roll out that one product and see if at least we, as founders, as drivers of this idea, can actually build something with somebody the other side of the globe, and if that works, then we'll keep on it. And what happened then was life. So she had some whatever issues and couldn't work on it, and then when she got back to us, we couldn't work on it, and then the holidays came, because this is November and December, and then so about a year since we had started, so we started in January 2014, this was already 2015, so about a year since this whole thing started, we pretty much had a code base, nobody really testing it or using it, and we were pretty much unable to prove that we could work with anyone, even someone in Cluj, so local, or somebody in Australia, on building a digital product, which is a theme in this case. So basically, a year later, we got bored of it, and it might happen to you as well if you wait a year to see some kind of traction in your product. So, to take away something from it, some of the pros are that we learned marketplaces are hard work. We also learned that dedication is key. Hopefully you have a lot of dedication for your product. It was our first international conference. We came back with $10,000 worth of Google Cloud credit, which we used some of it later on in 2015. We visited Dublin and we love Irish food. Some of the cons, well, yeah, we failed. We spent 10,000 euros going to Dublin, paying the designer to build the product, various other things. Yeah, it's expensive to fly to Dublin. And we almost spent 1 year of work. Well, it wasn't 1 year of work, like 16 hours a day, like the accelerators were telling us earlier that we need to put in 16 hours a day. It was a year of work, but it still was a year that didn't work on something else. So, I mean, this is kind of like the story of this failed startup. I think there might be some questions from the room. I'm guessing, I'm hoping there might be some questions. Because being a failed startup, there's not much else I can give you. I can give you some metrics if you'd like to know. I mean, we managed to get, I think, about 400 users from Build It With Me to sign up to our eventual release of our product. They never really saw they never got the release email, so to call it. So basically, in our case, we gave up because 1 year later, we didn't really believe in the idea anymore. Since we had been unable to do it ourselves, we were thinking that, okay, what kind of drive and what kind of perfect weather conditions will it take for some other people from, I don't know which parts of the globe, to make it if we weren't able to do this. So that's how Fwdmarket failed. And I tried to give you as many details as I could, and including the story about going to Dublin and the Google seminars and everything, because what I kind of want everybody to see is that, okay, at the end of the day it's a failure and it cost us money and everything, but on the upside of things, we did some cool stuff that took us out of town, that showed us a different world. We went to the Web Summit and we heard some awesome talks and we learned a few things. Okay, we learned them at a huge cost, you could say, but we still learned them. So it's a learning curve, and that's what breaking a startup is supposed to be about. Explain as much as you can about how it failed, so others can, maybe they'll learn more from just a tiny bit of your story than by just telling them, well, it failed because we ran out of money, or our team separated, or whatever. Okay, but what else did you guys do before you failed? What happened? So this is pretty much this is what I can give you, and let me know what questions are there in the room about this.
My question is, what encourages you to move on after this win?
What encourages me to, or us to move on? Well, you know, startups for us are a bit of a syndrome. You kind of get the disease, doesn't go away. You like solving problems. You kind of see things happening before your eyes. I don't know. It just happens. I mean, we didn't. For us, it wasn't. Bogdan came here earlier and said that for him, Onyx Beacon was a make it or break it internationally. They were determined to do this. For us, it was. I'll be honest. It was a fun experience. We kind of felt silly at the end about spending the money, but nothing else. We were like, okay, we tried it in a very unprofessional way. This was, I think, 3 years ago. Not much was happening in Cluj back then in terms of startups. You had Startup Week in Cluj, we'd been there as well. So it was the environment, the ecosystem was less mature than it is now. I don't remember a panel discussion about product metrics back then, or maybe I wasn't present at it. I weren't?
You were.
I weren't. So, it's nothing specific, just wanting to build things, basically.
It's dedication.
It's kind of dedication. I mean, dedication in this case, what I meant by this is dedication is key, but not dedication to that product that you want to build. I mean, we had a pain and we thought we could easily solve it, and it's a trap that I think a lot of entrepreneurs will fall into. Okay, this is a problem, I feel it, we can solve this, but you might end up finding out that it's a tough time to solve that problem, and you have to put in a lot of effort into it. And if you're not ready, you'll just fail like we did with this one, and you might learn more about the other ones. I mean, now I wouldn't jump so quickly on an idea that is like a nice to have for me.
From your experience, at which point in time should we abandon a startup which does not work before we actually lose €1 of work and take 10k euros?
Yeah, I asked the same question on an event earlier this year to someone else, a more seasoned entrepreneur. He was kind enough to give me an answer. He said that in his mind, you should quit once you, I don't know, go 100,000 euro past your budget. He was a way more seasoned entrepreneur than I am. But in my case, I think you'll know when you have to quit. I don't know of any recipe or any kinds of, Mircea probably knows. In our case, it was that we felt we could no longer drive the project or the product. And when you lose that motivation, there's no point in doing it anymore.
I think we tend to get in love with the idea and the thing of working on a startup, but actually a lot of the startups that are started, if you make just a theoretical exercise, how would be from the business point of view, you realize if it's worth doing that or not. So when we were working on a marketplace called Mombi at some point, we were making a little bit of money, we launched the product, we had engaged users, but then we started calculating, okay, how much can we grow in Romania at least? And we're a marketplace, it's transactional business, so you take a percentage of whatever goes through you, which is very small. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, how much traction do I have to get in order to cover all the costs, and what can be on top of that? And we found out doing this exercise for a couple of hours, not more than that, that it's not worth doing the business, and the expectations of return of investment would be too low in order for us to engage in this.
We were naive enough to look at Rap Bootstrap. If you know the history behind the website, so it sells bootstrap themes, and it started off as a guy, James, that's his name, he built the website, and I don't know what, he takes I think 60% of each sale or something like that, or 55%, which is a lot. And this happens on websites that sell this kind of things, like bootstrap themes or Magento themes or whatever you want.
Referring to consumer marketplaces there.
Yeah, this is a bit different. And we were looking at it saying, okay, we don't need to take that much, and we can certainly drive users to our website, but still, this is so much bullshit. I mean, you can't even imagine. When you start thinking, okay, but if we do it for less money, that's usually the plan. We make it cheaper and they'll come to us. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And you don't understand the business model behind his website, and you don't know why he's taking that much. You got a lot of question signs. But like I said, for us, I admit, looking back now, we shouldn't have started working on it. Now I know better. Back then it was just something, okay, let's do it. We were also a little bit hyped by the fact that our theme was selling, and we were getting somehow money. And we were saying, okay, this works. I mean, other people could get hyped by doing this. And we actually kind of spoke to others, and they said, yeah, I would. I mean, I would build something, but yeah, I don't have somebody to build it with. And all the pitfalls. We just every punch. We took every punch. Here.
Thank you. So, do you think that the problem was the fact that people were not constrained by contracts or something like that, are incapable of collaborating? I mean, they don't take an agreement on this platform sufficiently seriously, and that's why the idea doesn't work, because intuitively it feels like it should work. I have 50% of a project, and another person can make the other 50%, and you split the bill by selling the project on your platform. That was the idea.
Yeah.
So intuitively it should work, but where did the glitch happen?
I can just tell you based on our experience, because like I said, we tried to build it ourselves with someone. It was it was a continuous misalignment of when to actually do the work. When we were able to do the code, she had just one screen of the theme design. When she came back to do more screens, we were like, but we just started a new project with our other company, and we don't have time right now. So I think one major problem will be that people won't align on this. They just won't align on it. They say they will. They do it the first day, the second day maybe, if they're extremely disciplined freelancers who've been doing it all their lives and they know how to organize their work and all this and that, maybe they'll do it a bit longer. But as a team to work on it, that's why I don't think that's going to work.
They have nothing to lose, actually. That if they stop working, they just lose the previous work, but not...
Yeah, but it's hard because nobody starts by doing this full time. Everybody starts as a side project. Let's build this theme as a side thing. It's going to bring us passive revenue, and then with that money, we can take some time off our other projects and do more of this stuff, which is the scenario. But I don't think that scenario fits, because once you work on the theme and you get $2 a day or 5 or 10 passive income, somebody comes and says, would you work for me for $30 an hour on my project? And you're like, I don't know, would I? I'm making $2 a day by selling this thing on that website. I think I need more money to live than $2 a day, or however much you'll make. I'm just saying it's not enticing at first. We kind of thought that it would be a good idea because we were looking at other teams which were selling better than ours. And we were looking at them and trying to get us a feel. And some of them had their own websites, and basically they had a team behind them. So it's like one developer and one designer, or two designers and one developer, or the other way around. They get together and they build this product. And they build this theme, and there's something called the DB theme, which is very popular in terms of WordPress and stuff like that. And these things sell. I mean, these people make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year by selling these themes. So that's how all the rest of us got lured in. But sadly, to actually sell that, you need to treat it as a business. It's not a side project, it's not a thing, it's not that. It's what we do, it's our startup, sort of. Not building the platform, building that one theme. That's our whole day job. Yeah, we can work from the Philippines or somewhere in the sun or stuff like that, because we don't need to be in the office. But still, we need to provide constant support, we need to develop features, we need to release for Angular, then we need to release for React, we need to be always on top of technology and stuff like that. So if you go back and you look at the successful products of this kind of industry, so to call it, behind them are people who treat it as a business, as a company itself, and very serious, not just as a thing that we might do in our spare time. I think that's what the problem is. If you treat it like that, you're probably going to make some money off it.
Thank you.
What have you learned from your previous experience that you should have done at the beginning, but you didn't? And you did the second time around when you chose the second project to get involved with?
Well, the main lesson was that we should have started building something with people from Build It With Me, directly. No websites, no designs, no wireframes, nothing. Just find some designer there, find 5 designers, contact them all, try to build something with all of them, and just just see if it works.
So test it first.
So actually test it yourself with no automation, with no coding time, with nothing. Just spend time talking to people, sort of, until you see that they actually commit, and maybe you see that one designer out of 5 is very committed. Now you already have some kind of a percentage, you know? It's a number. You can believe in it this much. Okay, what we did on Future Startups Better is that we went out and we talked to people more. So we actually went out and talked more to our current startup with Clever Wash. We actually went out and talked to car wash owners before we had written a line of code. Now we have a designer in-house at the company, so it's no longer a problem. And we had some sketches done and a prototype on a phone and showed them it's going to work like this. What do you want to? So what do you think? Are you in? Are you out? Are you have one leg in, one leg out? So we kind of got some feedback before we built it, and of course, a fair percentage of them, most of them, stayed in after we released the product as well. Yeah, 1 of 2 said no, thanks. I made up my mind. I don't want to do it anymore. But for us, it was validation that killed us. We just thought it was so clear in our heads that this would make sense. Why wouldn't they do it? And it would be so awesome to launch it at the Web Summit, because there's a lot of entrepreneurial people are there and they might all want to tap into this or at least share it with someone. It was so silly looking back now. But back then we were, dreamers, whatever. Yeah, I think that's a sign. Okay, any more questions? Okay, I guess that's it. I don't know what time it is. Okay, this is the first time today when we finish ahead of schedule. So thanks a lot for joining, for playing along. No, don't forget about Ready for Startups. You can subscribe there if you want to join the events down the year and later on. We'll be doing these events recurrently. Pitch it, breaking a startup in it. They will happen every few months. Maybe at some point you come and tell us about your failed startup, or you pitch your current startup. Don't be shy. There's a lot of learning to be done here. Thanks a lot.